Seed Folks by Paul Fleischman. Maricela. If you're Mexican, the Cuban Puerto Ricans hate you because they think you snuck in illegally and they didn't, which they would have if they could have walked. If you're a teenager, the whole world hates you. If pregnant teenager, people think you should be burned at the stake. I'm a Mexican, pregnant, 16-year-old, so shoot and get it over with. I wouldn't actually care if you did. In a way, I'm already dead. I used to be really, really hot. Because of the baby, I'm as fat as a wrestler. I dropped out. I've been to exactly 0 parties, and I've been asked out exactly 0 times, including by the scum who got me pregnant. My parents were mad. They wanted to graduate, but abortion or adoption, forget it. Then they got sort of excited. They both love little babies, not me. They started praying for it every night while I was begging my body to miscarry. 3 of us from my high school got into this program for pregnant teens. They give you rides to the doctor and helping your GED at home. Great. Except that Penny, the woman we see, saw the community garden and got the program its own spot to give us practice taking care of something and to witness the miracle of life, and to try to keep us from eating our babies alive or dropping them into dumpsters. It was already the middle of summer, so she had us plant radishes since they grow fast. All 3 of us hate radishes. As soon as the little green leaves came up, a gopher or something wiped them out. So much for the miracle of life. I didn't tell Penny I was hoping the same thing happened to my baby. Cheerful, I never could. She's not puking or getting as big as a blimp. No one's always smiling. After the radishes came squash, then Swiss chard, which I knew how to eat. I was in my 7th month. I hated the bending. We all complained, but Penny just smiled. The rest of us called working there the chain gang. I hated the feel of dirt under my nails. One afternoon, Yolanda broke 2 of her fancy paint expensive nails and cursed out loud 10 minutes. Penny couldn't shut her up. Then another woman came over and gave us this long the word decorum. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was my old 3rd grade teacher, Miss Fleck. I prayed she wouldn't recognize me, but naturally she did, and asked me all the usual questions. I should have had the answers put up on a card to hand out. The next week, when some man threw a can out his window, which landed about a foot from my head, Miss Fleck figured out what apartment he was in, walked up and yelled at him like a kid. She treated the whole world like her classroom. Different people came to our part of the garden for different reasons. This Puerto Rican kid had these pumpkin plants that kept getting into ours. Gave him an excuse to walk right past me and to Dolores, who was 15 and pretty and still didn't look pregnant. I couldn't wait for her to get huge. Sometimes this black guy ran through our garden. He couldn't take time to go around. He grew lettuce, or tried to. Most of it was dead. He'd drive up in a cab, slam on the brakes like they just stepped in front of him, run our squash, cut a bunch of lettuce, and run back with it in a bucket of water. Then he'd peel out leaves of rubber. Then there were the people who came by to give us different things. Vegetables that they'd grown and thought we should eat, which we always gave away later. Advice on growing our stupid Swiss chard. Advice on giving birth and raising kids, which I tuned out as soon as they started. One day in August, just me and Penny. Black woman Leona, who had a garden and talked to us, came over and gave me some flowers she'd grown. They were yellow. I called them goldenrod, and she said if I made them into tea, it would help me with the delivery. She knew I didn't want pregnant. I could talk to her about it. That day, it was almost too humid to talk. The windows around the garden were open, and you could hear 10 different TVs and radios. A storm was coming. The thunder was getting closer. And then it hit. Bam. Then all the TVs and radios went off.